Edward Laos.
Welcome to Travel Talk, brought to you by The Hotel Guide, the global voice of luxury and boutique hospitality. Featuring Edward Leos.
Good morning, everybody. Edward Leos here, publisher of The Hotel Guide and your host of Travel Talk. Really excited about today's episode. I've got Abigail Tan, who is the CEO of St. Giles Hotels and actually doing some great things with Hotels with Hearts. We'll probably talk a little bit about that too. But Abigail, how are you doing this morning here? I think it's in the afternoon where you are, but how are things going in your corner of the world?
First of all, thank you so much, Edward, for having me on your podcast. It's a real pleasure and honor to be here and to speak with you. This part of the world, lots of hay fever. I said, if I sound really nasal and if I go into some sort of sneezing fit, you know why.
Oh yeah, no, it's here in Texas, like we were talking offline. It's the same thing. Allergies have been going a little bit nuts on our end too. But as we get into this. Yeah, go ahead.
People are starting to get happy because the weather is getting nicer finally.
Exactly. Yeah, that's how it is here too. You take the good with the bad. As the weather starts changing, you're just like, this is great. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh wait, I got allergies, and that's not fun. So then we wait for summer even more. But for all of my listeners out there, they always want to know, hey, Edward, who are we talking to today? So Abigail, why don't you tell our guests a little bit about yourself, kind of how you got to your role as a CEO of St. Giles Hotels, and then we'll kind of touch in a little bit what's going on with the company and your endeavors.
Yeah, sounds good. So just a quick background on myself. I was born and raised in Malaysia on a little island called Penang. So even though I've lived in London now or the UK for 23 years, I still say I'm a little island girl. And I came to the UK when I was 18 to study here and haven't left yet until the end of this year.
Wow.
So yeah, through university, I studied business management, went on to do a master's also in business management. And my family have been involved in hospitality for the best part of 30 years. So growing up in Penang, I got to go with my dad to the office to see what projects he was working on, see if there were any new hotels, from the ground up. I remember going to one of the sites in Penang in Malaysia and seeing, piling being put in. And just things like that excited me, how you go from just empty space into a living, breathing hotel with beds and people, with just a lot of life. It was incredible. So through school, at first, hospitality wasn't the obvious calling to me, even though it was clear from childhood that I actually did love it a lot. A story I actually my parents tell a lot, and I recount is that every time we would go on a holiday, the first thing I would do is walk into a hotel and just go breathe in and say hotel. Yeah, and instead of like playing somewhere, I'd be pestering the front desk staff. What are you doing? Why and what games do you have? Can I go see what's back there? So I think it was a world that always sparked a lot of curiosity in me. And then through university, we had one hotel here in London, St. Giles, London. There was a 724 bedrooms. And through some breaks from university, I would come down, attend some board meetings, have really long conversations with the then COO about the hotel business. And, he would just share a lot of me. I was studying in Exeter at the time, so it was about a 3.5-hour drive from London. And he would drive me back and forth, and the whole way long talking about the hotel and the business. So when it came time for me to decide what I wanted to do, I was talking to my Uncle Steve about it and realized that actually, hospitality is something I've always had a passion for. And once I started, I was like, I understand why, because no one day is the same. You can be creative, you can be strategic, you meet a whole variety of different people. You have the ability to change and to change someone's experience. I say sometimes there's a team like we're not saving lives, but we have the chance to make someone's day really magical. And so let's do that. And that's really what I love about the business, how we can build these worlds that really can impact our not only our guests but our team members and also the community, which is where we get into Hotels of
Oh
Heart.
yeah. I love I love the family aspect. So that's the origin story is even better. And we have a similar path in terms of, I didn't think of hospitality as a career either. And yet here we are with the magazine 33 years later with it. But I love what you're saying about how you can impact people's lives and the experiential side of travel and what it means. So that really resonates with me as well as probably a lot of our listeners. Tell me a little bit about what's going on with the St. Giles Hotels, and then we'll kind of get into the your other nonprofit endeavor and touch on that as well.
Sure. So right now we're a little bit of a transition phase. Our flagship London property, the one I mentioned, the 724 rooms, we sold that in January this year. We're also in the midst of selling our Heathrow property, and so it's consolidating a lot of our, I would say, more international European interests and concentrating more on Asia.
Got it. Okay. So you got that going on as well. And then I know you have Hotels with Hearts. Tell us a little bit about that project, maybe how it came to be and exactly what impact you're trying to make with it.
Sure. So I love talking about Hotels of Heart because it's really my passion project. I feel what drives a lot of my hotel work now as well. Because it started out as, so throughout my career, my hospitality career, I've always been interested in organizational behavior and culture and how we can build a truly sustainable, high-performing group and organization. And through that also, I realized that what I needed to also find was how we can drive more purpose and meaning into our organization and into our people. How do we create or how do we inspire the hoteliers of the future to say, we're not just here to do a job 9 to 5. We're also here. I said earlier, we're not saving lives, but what I think also is, in some way, Hotels of Heart will be saving lives because we're providing education and jobs, livelihoods, things that take some people out of the hardest of situations that we've already seen. And so what started off as just an idea with some fundraising here and there, supporting different charities, became, through COVID, we started housing the homeless in the hotel because I said, look, the hotel is closed. There are people on the streets who need somewhere to stay. So I reached out to the local councils and said, look, this is what we have. Like, how can we work together? And so through COVID, we housed the rough sleepers. And then when COVID ended, we reopened the hotel. We said, why stop there? We have rooms. We have a lot of rooms. We can continue to house them, even if it means taking out a portion of our inventory for them. And through that, we get to know these people, these individuals who are staying in the hotel, learn their stories, their hardships, what they truly want, and what kind of impact would best benefit them. And then that moved on to say, the hotel is a great place to learn, because not only in one place can you learn about human resources, about finance, about electrical things, about plumbing. There's just a wealth of expertise within the building.
Correct.
So I said, let's set up an academy where we take, we can put work with charities, work with rough sleepers, youth from difficult backgrounds, people who have struggled to get into work, those who show a passion for hospitality, take them through a training program, and at the end of it, give them some jobs or give them then tools in order to be able to find jobs and keep them. And so that's kind of where we are now with it.
That is truly a passion project. And I love what you're doing because you really talk about it. Hotels are really their own little ecosystem. There's so much there that people can learn from the front of the house to the back of the house to management to, it's not just about being a bellman and, being a
Yeah.
GM. There's so much in between that goes on that sometimes people don't understand the intricacies of a hotel and what it takes to actually run it, from the F&B side to even accounting and sales and all of that. So kudos to you to what you're doing with that, that opportunity for people. And I love what you're doing and how you can really look at expanding it. So let's shift a little bit from the professional side. And I always like to ask a couple of personal questions with regards to travel, since we are a travel podcast. What have been some of your favorite travel destinations you've been to? And then number two, got any bucket list spots still out there for you?
Yeah. So when I read your question about that, so usually it would be easy for me to think about it, but then it kind of stopped me because I was like, I've been so lucky and blessed to travel so much, and then I realized, but all these places that I've been to, everywhere has been beautiful in its own way because of who I've been with. So it's either a lot of travel with family or friends. One I just did recently was an intuition leadership retreat in the south of France, and where the setting was amazing, the people you're with are great, and it's a place that just leaves you a little bit with memories. Last month I did the portion of the Camino de Santiago with my family, and you're just walking through countryside. Suddenly you get to a waterfall and you're like, this is incredible. But it's also that family time that's so nice. We've been to amazing places like little small towns in Norway, on like a fjord cruise, Marrakesh with friends. So I don't think there's one. I don't have an exact favorite. Obviously, the place that I always go back to is Penang, where I grew up, because that's always home and it's always where I look forward to going back to. And the Philippines, I love. We have a hotel in the Philippines, so I've been lucky to be going there almost every quarter.
Even better.
And yeah, yeah, exactly. So just I think the people, the food, the islands, just incredible. So I can't narrow it down to one exact place.
That's usually
I think
what.
there's beauty everywhere.
Yeah, that's usually what happens when I ask that question, especially when you're in the hospitality industry. It's hard to pinpoint those spaces. But I love what you're talking about, because actually one of my previous guests talked about, they didn't care where they were, it was who they were with. And the experiences just really resonated with them. And the destination became secondary to the people that they were with, that made it even more memorable. So I love that you led into that as well. So any bucket list spots that you still have on your bucket list?
Yeah, where I'd still love to go is Jordan.
Okay.
I would still love to do my family, we went on a safari, but I was so young that I didn't really remember much, apart from trying to find the toilet at night and trying to avoid huge piles of elephant poop.
Yeah.
Or getting eaten by something. So that's what I would love to do again. Yeah, exactly. Get your foot stuck in there. It's going to take you a while to get out.
Doesn't
Yeah.
sound like fun.
No.
But no, that's
lots of places I would still love to explore.
And I think that's the good thing too. Even though, like I said, even though if you're well traveled, as you grow in life, there's so many different ways. Even if you've been somewhere, you re-experience it in a different way when you go, and you have more wisdom with you and who you're with. So I love what you're saying there. We got a couple of minutes left. This has been fantastic. But how can people find out more information about the properties or what you're doing with Hotels with Hearts? What's the best way to do that?
So the best way is through our main page, homepage, which is stgileshotels.com, or our Instagram, which is just at St. Giles Hotels. That one stays pretty updated. Or just reach out to me directly, or the team.
That's perfect. And like I said, you've got so many great nuggets. I think we could actually do another podcast and just talk about some of your experiences. What really got me was the hospitality's been in your blood from the beginning, and going into properties when you were younger and being able to just really how it resonated with you. But it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the podcast today, and learning what you're doing and sharing that with the world as well.
Thank you so much to you. I've really enjoyed this conversation, and look forward to more chats.
Oh, me too. So, hey, to all of our listeners out there, you know the drill. Follow us at thehotelguide.com. Like, comment, subscribe. We will have the links in our show notes so you can easily find Abigail, the St. Giles, and everything that they're doing, not only on Instagram, but on their website as well. But like we always like to say with the Hotel Guide, travel, make memories. And until next time, everybody, take care, and we'll talk soon.